Grace and peace to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. This is some dangerous territory that Jesus is taking us into today. I mean, what's he saying about building bigger barns? It's almost like the American way versus the way of God. And here I am, caught in the middle. The American way is more and bigger and better. It's chasing that dream, that American dream. It gets us up in the morning. It makes us work hard and work well and oftentimes work very long. Frankly, it was that ethic of hard work and saving that helped build the wealth we enjoy in this nation today. Honestly, much good has come to us, along with some bigger barns, both literal and metaphorical. So I need to be careful. It would be pretty easy for me to come in here and say, just get rid of everything, trust God, be like St. Francis, just go out and live on what people are willing to give you. Or I could say like Jesus said in the gospel lesson a few weeks ago, just go out 2 by 2. Don't take any sandals, don't take an extra change of clothing with you, don't take a purse, don't take your Visa card, just get out there. I could say all that. I could give you some biblical and historical examples to back it up. But I think the only thing it would accomplish is we'd all go out of here at the end of the service feeling pretty bad about ourselves, and probably nothing would change. On top of that, I don't think that getting rid of everything and living on the street as a beggar is what Jesus is really asking us to do. At least, not all of us. And not most of us, and not many of us, and maybe not even any of us here. So what's the point? What's the point in what we've heard? Now, the reading from Ecclesiastes said, enjoy the fruit of your work. It's good. It's good to eat and drink and enjoy the things that God gives us. But then Jesus said, wait a minute. Jesus said, greed's bad. He said, be on guard against all types of greed. And he said, accumulating possessions in isolation, accumulating to yourself, it's not good. Jesus said one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions. Relying on your stuff, not good. Not being rich toward God. Definitely, Jesus said that's not good. But bigger barns just in themselves, I don't know. I think the jury is out on this one. First, let's put the parable in a bit of context for us. We don't have many farmers here. Exception, at least one exception back there. Sorry. But if we did, you could tell us, but I'm not going to put you on the spot. If we had a whole congregation full of farmers in a lot of places across the country this morning and gathering to hear this reading, they're going to have a whole congregation full of farmers. And they would tell you that it's a good thing when your lands produce abundantly. But it does create a problem. What do you do with all the stuff your land produces? You don't want it to rot in the field. That would be wasteful. It's no good. You don't necessarily want to take your grain to market in the midst of a huge surplus and try to sell it when everybody else is selling their grain at the exact same time. So what do? Well, voila, the barn, or the grain bin, or the silo, or the grain elevators. It's just prudent management. There's nothing wrong with prudent management. So if it's not the barn, what's the issue here? Well, let's look at the rich farmer in the story. He trusted in his riches. He's going to sit back now and let his riches take care of him. And he does this all in isolation. He has this great conversation with himself. I this and I that. And soul, here's what we're going to do, soul. Soul, what do you think about that? It's just a wonderful little conversation he has all by himself. He's got it all figured out. He and his soul can live on his accumulated stuff. Then he dies. Well, we all face that. But he dies, according to the story, he dies in isolation. And Jesus asks, who then will get all his things? Now, in suburban America, we have replaced barns full of crops with garages full of our things. I did a little research. There's 130 million residences in America. 2/3 or 85 million of them have a garage. If those garages are anything like my garage, it's completely full of stuff. We have so much stuff in our one-car garage that neither of our cars will ever see the inside of that garage. Never. I guarantee it. Now, in more suburban areas than where I live in Scotia, you solve the problem by having multiple bays. So you have a 2-bay garage or a 3-bay garage, or hey, let's just go for a 4-bay garage, right? But no matter how big, what do? Fill it with stuff. And a lot of the stuff we fill it with ends up owning us because, well, you got to maintain it, you got to update it, you got to insure it in many cases. You have to do this stuff constantly. And then if you still don't have enough room for all your stuff, well, you can always get a storage locker. Another statistic, this is recent, 2012. The United States has 83% of the storage lockers in the entire world. Think about that. 83% of the entire world. 2.35 billion square feet of floor space in storage lockers in America. 3 times the size of Manhattan. So if you want to picture this parable in our 21st century American, suburban American setting, I want you to think about a show. Some people might have seen it. It's called Storage Wars. Anybody seen Storage Wars? Okay, few people have. What happens in this show, this reality show, supposed reality, of course, like with any reality show, take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, but people sometimes can't make the payments, the lease payments on their storage unit, or something happens. And what happens is their unit then and all the things inside are seized. And so they have an auction. The buyers gather around like vultures ready to pick over the carcass. They come along and they cut the lock off the storage unit. They open up the door, and from outside, the bidders get a chance to look in and try to imagine what's inside all the boxes. And then I think it's 5 minutes. They get to look just through the opening, and then the bidding starts. Just imagine this. Imagine those are the treasures your life. Going to the highest bidder, usually for only a couple $100. Is that the legacy we want to leave? Having stuff for the sake of having stuff? There was a bumper sticker that was fairly popular about 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago. You might remember it. He who dies with the most toys wins. Remember that one? There was a counter bumper sticker to that. He who dies with the most toys is still dead. So anyway, if you remember that, instead of worrying about our stuff and where to keep our stuff, Jesus invites us to something else. He doesn't say stuff is bad. He doesn't say the barn is bad. He says, don't trust in these. Be rich towards God. Now, perhaps being rich toward God doesn't mean we abandon the dream that we're chasing. But maybe at least we can modify that dream a little bit and make it a little richer toward God. And so, I've been trying to picture what's that look like for us in our lives in 21st century suburban America. What's it look like to be rich toward God, or at least a little bit richer, without getting rid of everything and living on the street like St. Francis? What can we do? We're going to do something a little bit different this morning. Oftentimes I will ask you a question and take some responses, but I want to get more people involved in the conversation this morning. I want you to consider that question. What is one little thing we can do in our lives to be richer toward God? And I want you to get in groups, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever is comfortable for you to talk amongst yourselves. And we're going to give you about 3 or 4 minutes to do that. So huddle up. If you're sitting by yourself, find somebody else to huddle up with. I will come around and see if you're stuck. So I want you to come up with an idea how you can be richer towards God. So go. 1 minute. Okay, I hate to break this up, but I want you to think about this. This is the beginning of a conversation. We're going to listen to what you came up with, but let me preface it. I'm going to be writing down your ideas. I got a whole bunch of ideas from the first service, and I write slowly, so if I miss your idea, it's not that, don't be offended. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a lot of these ideas, I'm going to post them on our Facebook page, and I'm going to invite people to come up with other ideas. So hopefully this will be an ongoing conversation, doing what's one little thing we can do to be richer towards God. But now I want to hear from you. So who's got an idea they're willing to share? Irene, what do you got? Being of service. Like what? Visiting somebody. Okay, great. Take the time to visit. Wait a minute. I write slowly. Share what you have. Sharing. Share. So you kind of got to figure out what your abundance is and then figure out how to share it, right? Okay, good. Well, Steve. Donate. So maybe look at one of the bays in your 6-car garage. See, what can I donate to Goodwill or City Mission or whatever? Yeah, donate from your abundance. Okay, good. How about over on this side? What we got? Okay, pray more. This one I was hoping would come up. It didn't come up at the first service. So maybe when you say pray more, Janet, so if you pray 2 minutes a day, maybe just take 3 minutes or take a second time during the day to stop and pray, right? Like every red light. We're going to do a lot of praying. Carol. Good. Okay, thank you. Carol said listen more. Take the time to listen. It's such a great gift in our society. Everybody wants to talk all the time. We want to get our stuff out there. We don't take the time to listen. Look, somebody else, yes. Bill. Be aware. What do you mean by that? Aware of people's needs and, be aware of whatever comes. Okay, excellent. That's why I wanted to get you to flesh it out a little more, because I knew you had more to say there. Yeah. We start by maybe being aware of the abundance that we have that God has given us, and then we be aware of what other people's needs and presences. Yes. Person-to-person communication. Correct. Okay. Okay. Take time with your family and people around you. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this when I get done. Yeah. Walk together and enjoy nature. Thank you. That's a great one. Should have got a secretary to do this. Enjoy nature. Yeah. Anybody else want to share? It's Susan. Okay, little acts of kindness. Right? Yeah. Shirley. Okay. Being willing to accept. Yeah, that's really important. It's a gift to somebody else when you allow them to give. Volunteer in a community. Any particular ones you want to recommend? Excellent. Others? Anybody else? Yeah. Well, okay. Invite others to join you when you're giving or doing something. Yeah. Okay. I know on the tape this is going to seem like a lot of dead air as I stop and write stuff down. Sorry, people watching on the internet. Yes. More forgiving. Okay. Judy, did you have one? You have your hand up? Yeah. Yep. It was said, but excellent point, though. Be willing to accept as well as give. Very good. One that didn't come up at this service that came up the last service, which I thought was really profound, was just smile at people. Talk to them. So, for instance, you go out to a restaurant, you always have a server, they come over and they say their name. Call them by name. Acknowledge them as a person. Little things like that. So these are great. I know there's more. Like I said, I want this to be the beginning of a conversation. So get on our Facebook page if you're not on it already. I'll post some stuff later and add other ideas as they come because we want to try stuff. Carol. Learn children's names. Excellent. Thank you. And speak to them. Okay. I hope I can read my writing when I'm all done. But anyway, these are good things. These are great things. And I hope you take away at least one idea. I'm not asking to change your whole lifestyle. I'm asking you to try one thing. Pick out one of these things or something else you think of. Just try it. And if it doesn't work for you, try something else. And if that doesn't work for you, try something else. And we can do that because Jesus has taken care of the big stuff for us. Our sins, they're forgiven. They were nailed on that cross. They were buried in the tomb. Death, Jesus took care of that. Our future, we have a future in the kingdom with Jesus forever. It's all guaranteed. The big stuff is taken care of. So that gives us freedom. Freedom for us to take the chance to try to live our lives a little more richly towards God. Give it a shot. Amen.